When you perform a random physical action, a specialized network in your skull immediately begins building a logical explanation for why you did it, often after the action has already occurred. We generally experience our lives as a sequence of conscious choices. We think, I want coffee, and then we reach for the cup. But neurological evidence suggests that in many daily tasks, the reaching happens first and the reasoning follows. This gap between action and awareness is most visible in a rare condition called alien hand syndrome, where a person's limbs appear to act on their own, often with conflicting goals. A patient might use their right hand to zip up a jacket, only to watch in confusion as the other hand reaches up and aggressively pulls the zipper back down. For the patient, this isn't just a muscle twitch. They are a conscious observer to their own body's movements, unable to stop or predict what their own hands will do next. This suggests that much of our physical behavior is driven by automated biological programs, systems that operate entirely outside our conscious awareness. If the biological machine is the one making the move, then the part of the brain that claims credit starts to look less like a commander-in-chief and more like a press secretary, spinning a narrative for a public it doesn't actually lead. This press secretary is located in the left hemisphere. While the left side of the brain handles the mechanics of language, it also acts as an interpreter, constantly trying to make sense of the signals it receives from the rest of the body. In the 1950s, neuroscientists studied this mechanism by looking at split-brain patients, individuals whose left and right hemispheres had been physically disconnected to treat severe epilepsy. In one experiment, researchers flashed the word walk so that only the patient's nonverbal right hemisphere could see it. The right hemisphere processed the command, and the patient immediately stood up and began to walk away. The researchers then stopped the patient and asked their verbal left hemisphere a simple question: "Why are you getting up?" The left brain had no knowledge of the walk command, but it didn't admit it was confused. It instantly invented a plausible motive, with the patient saying, "I was going to get a Coke." Michael Gazzaniga, who pioneered these studies, concluded that the left hemisphere acts as a blind interpreter. It observes the body's actions and retroactively assigns a logical reason to them, even if that reason is a total fabrication. While split brain surgery is rare, the same interpreting mechanism is active in every healthy, intact brain. In one study, participants were asked to hold a pencil between their teeth, forcing the contraction of the muscles associated with smiling. When asked how they felt, these participants reported higher levels of happiness. Their brains observed the physical state of the face and retroactively decided that person must be in a good mood. These findings suggest that our conscious emotions and motives are often just stories we tell ourselves after our bodies have already reacted to the environment. In this view, the I we experience isn't the one sitting at the controls. Rather, it's the narrator, trying to impose a coherent story on the output of a complex biological machine. The neurologist Oliver Sacks believed this storytelling wasn't just a quirk of the left brain, but a vital survival mechanism for the human ego. Sacks documented cases of Korsakoff syndrome, where patients lose the ability to form new memories, leaving them stranded in a permanent shifting now. To bridge the gaps in their memory, these patients enter a state of frantic confabulation, constantly inventing new names, life stories, and immediate histories to explain who they are and where they are. Sacks argued that without these fabricated stories, the patient's very sense of self would collapse into unorganized chaos. We are exploring how these neurological glitches define our reality. Subscribe now to join us as we pull back the curtain on the mechanics of the mind. While most of us don't suffer from clinical memory loss, we use the same narrative glue to maintain our own personalities. We tell ourselves stories about why we love, why we work, and why we believe what we do. The motives we claim are the narratives our left brain builds to make sense of our biological impulses. We tell these stories not necessarily because they are true, but because they are the only thing keeping our identity from falling into a void.